Hi, Saints fans. Josh Starr here, and joined by a very special guest today, as we're excited to have a conversation with John Buccigross and talk all things junior hockey. John, ESPN, NHL play-by-play, voice of the Frozen Four, The Point on ESPN, Sports Center anchor, college hockey, chicken parm, Butchie OT Challenge, all of it. It's great to have you on. Thanks for joining us, and I guess let's start. Just how excited are you that hockey season's back?
Yeah, very excited. It's kind of like I've always liked the month of September anyway. It's kind of my New Year's day or New Year's year. It's when my favorite part of the clock starts ticking and the calendar starts turning. The fall, the weather's phenomenal. Baseball playoffs and football starts and hockey training camps start. Then we slowly get to the end of September, and then yeah, especially with my job now in the last 4 years, doing play-by-play and studio work from October to June to the Stanley Cup final, which we have again this year on ESPN, ABC. Yeah, it's just I like the rhythm. I like preparing for games. I like doing the stats dive and doing my line charts and flying to the cities and meeting up with coaches and players and going to the rink and of course the games themselves. It's a great rhythm. Very grateful I have this kind of life and able to enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely feel the same way about getting to call games and get to the rhythm of the season. So uh, we're a couple games in here. It's been exciting so far. So let's talk about the USHL and college hockey right now. We're in a unique time. The past year has been a lot different. Figure you're a great person to talk to about it. So let's start when you think of the USHL, what comes to mind?
Only the past obviously decade or so, it's just that great program for people to late bloomers or for people who want to go play a couple of years of junior before college to grow up physically or emotionally in any way, whether or not they're overlooked at first and you want to give themselves a chance to prove themselves for more training. Everyone has a different path. And so obviously it was that natural bridge for many players to take, whether it's a little bit underaged or whether it's 18, 19. It was just a nice little solid league as a bridge to college. Of course, things have been upended now a bit. When this first started happening last year, a year and a half ago, I said, people would ask me what I thought would happen. I go, really don't know. We won't know. Anybody won't really know until things just start happening. And as it's turned out, I don't know if anybody saw this coming. And it's just, yeah, like I said, still a bit of a mysterious time. Hopefully, the proper leadership comes up, proper people who love the game and care for the game and can figure out what's the best way to provide all these different types of training for kids. And we can figure this out because right now it's a bit of like the Wild West.
Yeah, definitely. But still, the NHL and college hockey are riddled with talent from this league, and there's a lot of success stories that have come from it, and currently are being born from it. What do you think it is about the route from the USHL and college that has led to so much success at the NHL level?
Play, there's so many situations, especially for young boys who play hockey as a 6-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, and they get to high school and there might be 1,500 kids in a high school, but there's only 18 spots to play hockey. And a lot of kids, there's just not really a lot of midget programs. And I'm talking obviously for just your average high school hockey athlete who just wants to keep playing. Sometimes those places run out. And then certainly for someone who's 18, who's not ready yet for a Division I scholarship or maybe even Division III, and they want a place to go and play and continue their development. Obviously, the USHL is a great place, especially if it's in America. If people want to play in the US, they don't want to go to Canada. There's a comfort level to being in the US for different reasons for some people. And it's just cool to take. Also, it's great for the game of hockey to take hockey to places like Dubuque, Iowa. And as a result, there's going to be a little kid who falls in love with hockey, otherwise probably wouldn't if they weren't there. We say more, the best way to create hockey fans are, first of all, the best way are NHL teams. And that's why I would expand like crazy if I was the NHL. And certainly their next best way is certainly minor league teams and junior teams, and that's a way to get hockey to these markets, especially these places that have been, not properly served in the middle of the country and the South. And so it's been a great way just to grow the game per se for anybody who sells skates or broadcasts games like yourself. It's a great way for employment. It's a great way for job creation for people who want to do what they want to do. It's a great way to train them as well. So not just the players, but the broadcasters, the coaches, the GMs. It's a way to get them also. It's a developmental league, not just for the players.
Yeah, and a lot of those Midwestern towns are hosting these teams, and you're right. There's a lot of success that have come from not only the players but staff and front office and things like that. And we'll get to them in a second. I do want to talk about some of those, but first let's move on to just college hockey a little bit. It's grown a lot. You've seen it in the last few years, and the there's the spotlight that it's in now is bigger than it ever has been. What's your favorite thing about being involved in college hockey?
To see of it, the hunger that might change. We'll see with these players getting this big time money. Might lose some of their innocence and become a little more worldly than they were before. They're just kind of like cool kids. A lot of them are like, they're my son's age now. They're a little bit younger now than my kids. So, but mathematically, they still could be my sons. So I want them to do well. I root for them. But the coaches, there's not a lot of wealth. The coaches aren't rich. They're not making millions and millions of dollars. So there's less arrogance, less entitlement. So that's kind of nice to be around those people. Like I said, the rinks are smaller, the people are warmer. And so it's just a great little part of my job. It's what's great about being involved with ESPN. It's such a big company. I can do a lot of things. I wrote a hockey column for 15 years, 16 years on ESPN.com, a weekly column that was incredibly satisfying. And now I've done 13, 14 Frozen Fours, not sure which. Obviously, all the sports centers now, the NHL on the back end. As my kids are grown and gone, I don't mind traveling now. I didn't have to travel when I was younger. I was more of a studio person, so I didn't miss anything at home. Now that they're grown and on their own, then I don't mind traveling at all. And it's I actually really love my job and really more focused on my job than I've ever been and working hard to get better. And so, so yeah, it's just that the college game has been just a kind of an unexpected thing that came along, and it's really decorated my life and made my life better. And it's just like I said, the intimacy, the smallness of it. And now, like you said, the glow up of it now is pretty fun. The big, the television aspect is the biggest part. When I first started 2006 doing NCAA regional games, first Frozen Four was 2013. It was just hard to find a game on TV, much less in high definition. Like you couldn't, there was terrible production. Now we have a lot more, especially the Big Ten networks help a lot push other conferences to get games on TV, good production, high definition. And then now what you start to see these last few years, these schools have these great video crews who just provide incredible content on social media of behind the scenes and goals and video, like Nebraska Omaha comes to mind, an amazing job they did. They were one of the first I really saw take it to a different level with multi-camera shoots and slow-mo and play-by-play and music. And so now a lot of schools do a really, really, really good job with the students. And so the game is being marketed better that way. Probably still could take another level, getting more cooperation from the coaches for game times and to get a few more games on TV. But ESPN Plus has been a great place for college hockey. I think there's 600 games this year that are on. Like I said, 10, 15 years ago, it was hard to find a game on TV, much less quality broadcast.
You've been a great advocate for it, and hearing you on the Frozen Four is great every year. And let's talk about last year's. It was an exciting one, especially here in Dubuque. Owen Michaels winning Most Outstanding Player, Yona Väisänen a big part of the Western Michigan team that won. What did you notice about the level in which those two players impacted the Frozen Four for their team last year?
No, yeah, no, obviously they're hugely important, especially Owen with that big goal. That was awesome. You like it, as you know, as a play-by-play guy, when you see the play, and I never stop looking in the ice and know anything can happen, and to see the goal and to nail the call and to get the guy, and it was a great moment for Western Michigan. I've been really lucky since I started doing the championship in 2013. I've had a lot of first-time winners in terms of schools winning their first national championship. I mean, my first one was Yale. Then Union was my second one that was there first. Providence was another one who got there first. UMass's first. Quinnipiac's first, Western Michigan's first. So it's been fun because then you're a part of the school's history forever. And obviously, Owen Michaels will show that goal to his kids and his grandkids, and that'll be my voice calling the goal. So that's really an honor to be a part of these coaches and kids' lives in a really unique way. And that's why doing play by play is what I want to do more and more because, a lot of the studio stuff at ESPN now is kind of disposable. You do it, it goes away, it just vaporizes in the midair. Where play by play is more of a historical document, more so for the people who are intimately involved, the players, coaches, a few fans. Obviously, it's a small group, but again, I like the small group aspect more than the big mass media. So it just fits my personality, and it's fun to be a part of people's lives.
It was fun for us to watch Owen do what he did, and
Mhm.
seems like Jonas primed for another good season there as
Yeah.
well. So it was really exciting to watch, and the Saints have alumni at a lot of the big schools, Hockey East, Big Ten, NCHC, whatever, wherever it is. You can probably find some Fighting Saints. What have you seen working with all these different programs and covering the games that about the player experience and how that kind of compares to what you see at the NHL level with how players are treated and the way that they can go and perform at their highest level.
Yeah, better and better. Obviously, the facilities, it's an arms race. And once one school or a couple schools build these amazing, facilities, like in North Dakota kind of set the bar, and then slowly Minnesota had to do theirs, and slowly Wisconsin had to take care of their program, and it trickles down. Union has a new rink this year, and UConn is trying to build a new, they built their on-campus rink as well, which is exciting. Stonehill College. I went to their little golf tournament the other day, and they're trying to raise another $5 million or so they can get shovels in the ground to build an on-campus rink for Stonehill College in northeastern Massachusetts, outside Boston. So yeah, it's a great program. I think that's why one reason why you mentioned college hockey taking another step because I think USA Hockey and all the people around the game started to realize how important player development was. I kind of went to a different level in the last 25 years when they really realized they went over to say, why was Sweden, this small country, getting all these high draft picks? What was it about them that this little country was getting higher draft picks in the US? That shouldn't be the case. And one of the basic things they saw is they practice more than they play at a young level. Obviously, the parents in America want to have 1,000 games in 5 practices. They want to scream and yell at the ref and see their Sparky score a goal. So they realize that Sweden they practice more than play because when you play a game you might touch the puck for 17 seconds, maybe 18 seconds total on your stick. Some shifts you don't touch it, others touch it for 2 seconds, but total it's like not a lot. Go to a practice, obviously you can touch it for 20 minutes, a half an hour, different small station drills and puck handling drills, and they realize that's better at that age when you're developing skill anywhere from 8 to 14. Those are the magic years when you can really develop skill, whether it's music or language or sport. After that, it's tough to get better at anything if you start late. There's some exceptions, but really that's your window. And so once you get that point, they realize in college now, boy, these guys are only playing twice a week. So they have all week to go to the gym, work out, work on their shots, work on their edge work, power skate. They can do all kinds of things during the week to get better. And then kind of approach each game like a football player would towards the weekend. And then you kind of recharge, you reassess, recharge, eat, sleep, start working out, skate, and it's all of a sudden you can see yourself maybe getting better like this, just and so there's ups and downs, but there's a still track you're going up, and that's what the college game offers that Canadian junior doesn't is fewer games, more training over time. I think they both should probably do a little bit. Look at the other group. Like, college could probably play a few more games. They could probably get to 40, even 45. Junior could probably play a few less. But again, they're looking for ticket sales and revenue, and obviously to make some money as their business is. And obviously, college they have a little more support systems, especially the big schools with football TV contracts or things like big budgets in athletic programs. Although they prefer for them to sustain themselves, and some college hockey programs do. Others need help from the school. So Penn State draws 6,000 a game, so they're going to make money. Other schools might lose a little bit, but again, it's part of the whole experience of a college. So yeah, it's part of that player development has become such a huge thing in the last couple of decades, and college is the perfect place. So it just worked out perfect. That was their all along. That was their nutshell. But that probably should have been that way in the 80s and 90s, but they probably didn't realize that's how they could market it. They didn't realize the data on that and the advantage they had, or they could have done this 40 years ago.
Yeah, and that's kind of what they preach here in the USHL is,
Right.
over 90% of the games on the weekends, you have the whole week to practice, and it
Right.
gets you ready, for with the great coaching they have here to get better. So
Yep.
let's talk about those coaches. You mentioned it a little bit earlier for the Saints. Greg Brown's at BC, Jim Montgomery's in St. Louis, handful of other coaches in pro hockey, and obviously John Cooper, kind of the big one from Green Bay to win a few Stanley Cups. When you talk to people around the NHL, what is their attitude toward the USHL and how it helps people get to that stage in their careers?
It's like any situation, you need steps. You got to go through steps. There's only, just over 60 college hockey teams. So to get head coaching experience, like, obviously college football, college basketball, there's hundreds. So you can go to a real small school, get some head coaching experience. Well, you can't do that in college. High school hockey, except in Minnesota, really isn't what it used to be. That's not a great place to get experience, but it's some. So, even Division 3 or something like that might be difficult. So, I mean, the USHL is just that perfect spot where you can get, be behind the bench and make these decisions while also dealing with some really high level players, where it's Macklin Celebrini or someone like that, where this kid's obviously going to play in the NHL, probably will be a Hall of Famer. And they knew that at 16, 17. And he's on my team now, so I got to learn how to manage him, and then how the fourth liner approach looks at him, and how can we keep this team together? I can't be throwing Macklin over the board all the time. Then I'm going to lose the fourth line guys and third line guys if they're not getting shifts, and that's an important part of hockey is making sure everyone feels like they're pulling the rope. So yeah, it's just a great place because let's face it, there's not a lot of other chances to head coach. Now, the AHL is another great place to do it, so you have more teams there. The USHL just provides, again, just that other wave of jobs that are available for someone who wants to be a head coach and wants to get that experience. And it might be holding them back, because you could be an assistant in North Dakota, an assistant at Boston College, but you might be getting looked over. Someone wants to see what's he like behind the bench. And so that's what Greg Brown did. David Quinn went to the American League when it looked like Jackie Parker was never going to retire. So he went to the Lake Erie Monsters, and he was a head coach there for a while. And Parker did retire, and David Quinn got the BU job. So, and now he's an assistant back with the Rangers for a couple of head coaching jobs with the Rangers and San Jose. So, yes, again, just another, whether it's like I said, a broadcaster or anybody, you're looking for your first job, you're looking for your first chance, and more of them, the better.
Yeah, there's opportunity out there, right? And you just have
Yep.
to find it for yourself.
Got to
And
be willing to go anywhere, willing to go any part of the country or take any job at any pay level to just to get the clock running, get started.
yeah, and for the players, it's similar opportunity to
Same
earn your
thing.
stripes and try to get a
Right.
college commitment or get
Yep.
drafted to the NHL.
Hmm.
You mentioned Penn State before. It's my alma mater, so I have to ask you. We have a couple guys committed on the team this year: Mason Fleece, Xavier Lieb. Um, but they made a big splash in the offseason. You mentioned them before in a couple of different ways. Kevin Radler, Dubuque Fighting Saints alumni. Uh, what do you make of their chances this year as trying to win a national championship?
Well, certainly going to the Frozen Four last year, obviously they were a good team. Lost a couple players, but a lot coming back. So they still would have been a pretty good team. But then obviously to land Gavin McKenna like they did, puts them in a really whole other, hemisphere, because you need stars, Western Michigan, that's the thing. Last year they had a star, and this year they don't. So Pat Ferschweiler knows that it's harder. When Union won their first national championship, they had Shane Gostisbehere. That's why they won. He was +7 in the national championship game, and he helped get them there to begin with. So, BU and Jack Eichel, and when Providence beat them, they had multiple NHL players on that team. Alex Bump was a star for Western Michigan last year. You need that. Every team, the Los Angeles Kings are looking for a star in the NHL. They're not sure if they have one. Will Quentin Byfield be one? Well, he's not yet. We'll see. Otherwise, it's difficult because the teams who make championships, whether it's Johnny Gaudreau behind you winning a Clark Cup in 2011, then the next year he won a national championship at Boston College. What a back-to-back run that was! Um, and you need guys like that. Those are the players to win. And Gavin McKenna is obviously that kind of player. So it's going to be the excitement around Penn State this year is just awesome. I hope he gets off to a great start and that momentum starts to build. And like I said, the Frozen Four is in Las Vegas this year. It'd be awesome to get him out there. Penn State, I always like to have about three, blue bloods out there, a Michigan, a Penn State now, and whether it's North Dakota or a Boston College, and then one kind of a Cinderella team to kind of cap it out. That's always my ultimate Frozen Four recipe. And we kind of had that last year. We had Penn State, obviously a great blue blood brand name throughout college sports. You had Denver, obviously the most successful program in college hockey. Boston University, another great brand name. Then you had Western Michigan looking for their first. So that was the perfect Frozen Four. So I'm hoping this year we get the same thing. And I want, I don't root for any teams per se. I root for people and players. Love to see Guy Godowski win a national championship. There's multiple guys like that. So, but I do want them to be there. I want the best show, and they would help. They would have they would provide the best show because obviously, again, Penn State, tons of alum every year they churn out and get a great rating. And Gav McKenna is going to be the first pick of the draft, first or second. It's close. The North Dakota defenseman is very good as well. But, it'll likely be McKenna, and to have him at the Frozen Four, it just gives it more juice. Whether when Jack Eichel was there, same type of thing. So I'm hoping they do well, and I hope he gets there.
And championships, like it could be a first, as you mentioned. You enjoy the first, so for Penn State,
For your first national championship. So yeah.
yeah, for Penn State to be a first. You mentioned Johnny Gaudreau here, and the Saints won in 2011. They haven't won since 2013. Trying to change that last year, fell short. But the Clark Cup final last season was it seemed like it really got a big national spotlight. And this is going to be my third season here in Dubuque, and
Nice.
it seems like that was the biggest spotlight I've seen for the Clark Cup in my time here in a few years. And there were big names covering it. Uh, and it went 5 games. It went overtime. It was a great series between Muskegon and Waterloo. For your perspective, how do you think that the USHL can continue to stay in that spotlight and capitalize on that?
Probably a few more. Try to get games on TV. It'd be great to have like a weekly game on an NHL network or something, where the league continue to get some marketing and explain it because there's a lot of really hardcore NHL fans who know anything about the USHL that it even exists. It is. The education of the league it you know could probably improve. I know it's difficult. There's a lot of competition out there for hockey, local hockey, high school and pro and American League, and I get it. But some way to try to get those players out there with high quality broadcasts and uh, a player of the week, a USHL player of the week, whether it's on ESPN or something, that would take obviously a big financial commitment, and you'd hope the NHL or someone who loves the game, that's part of investing in the game, investing in the grassroots of the game, maybe get that out more and explain it. And, especially now, because there's competition. Obviously, there's competition with Canadian Junior because they can now play NCAA hockey after starting up there. And so I'm sure the USHL is trying to figure out what's our sweet spot, what's their sweet spot, how's this going to work. And so, but yeah, I think that's the big thing now is just marketing, getting it out there as much as they can to educate your average fan on what these programs are and their uniforms and the cool sweaters, and maybe they'll start buying merchandise and so yeah. So that would be my right.
One of the good ways to market is the NHL draft, and it seems like a
Right.
lot of picks in the first rounds have been coming from the USHL. It feels like every year a new record breaks for this
You're
league
right.
getting players drafted. What are the differences you see in college at the NHL level between players from the USHL versus other leagues?
Yeah, the USHL players are probably a little more mature. They probably a little more structured. It's a more physical game. I talked with a coach who had a kid from the USHL, one from the Quebec League, one from the Ontario League, who came on his team, the NAHL. And he mentioned that that the kids from the O and the Q are really struggling with the physical play. So I think that was a big difference. And so that's something that, it's a more, I think that if I'm them, I would continue to push skill development, but also a pro style type of skill development, right? Where there's discipline, there's two-way hockey, you're demanding two-way play. It's not just a free for all. Uh, that would be the best way because then you'll get serious people committing to play. And if they have the proper advisors and the proper people looking out for them and saying, this is where you should go. This is going to make you a well-rounded player. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have some adversity, and so that's what I would suggest because that's what I kind of see right now.
All right. Thanks. Thanks for the time here. I got a couple quick hitters for you to end this off. Let's go. Saints in their first game of the season, they won 10-2. Our captain Teddy Merrill scored a Forsberg goal. He's committed to
Nice.
Colgate. It was like in the game run of the game. It wasn't a shootout or penalty shot attempt. It was fun for me to
Yeah.
call. You have any goals that stick out to you over the years that have been kind of special for you to be able to broadcast?
Well, I had, the Trevor Zegras alley-oop to Sonny Milano in Buffalo was a great one. Never saw that one coming. Then he had another one in Seattle. Who kind of did another similar crazy move. Those are the two goals. Certainly the World Cup of Hockey that when Johnny Gaudreau made the amazing play along the boards and passed it to Nathan McKinnon to beat Sweden for the young North American team. That was an amazing overtime with an amazing exclamation point goal. So that one stands out a lot. I've had one national championship overtime, winning goal with Quinnipiac. That was my first overtime national championship. I'm so excited because I'd yet to call a sudden death goal. And the only bad part was it lasted 11 seconds. It's like I wanted this thing to build up on Twitter and X, and then that's when the ratings start to rise. People find out there's a sudden death hockey game on TV where every shot is the half court buzzer beater. Basketball, you only get one an overtime period. Every shot in hockey is that buzzer beater that could go in the game. So luckily, I was on my toes. I stand up usually when I call play by play because I want all my senses to be aware. And I saw the face off one. I saw the whole thing develop. So luckily, I nailed it that way. Saw the man open in front. And so that one, Jacob Quillen, again, he'll be showing that to his family for the next 50, 60, 70 years. So again, those are the ones. So partly because of that, but yeah, those are the ones that certainly stand out. I got one of Ovechkin's goal. So whenever he retires with 930, or if he stays for a couple more years, he get 1,000. I'll always have one of his, and it was an exclusive television call. So it was a one timer, and I nailed it. I saw that one that kind of stands out too. Obviously, being Alex Ovechkin, the greatest goal scorer of them all.
Yeah, his are sometimes easy to see coming.
Yeah, on a
Um,
power play, they're very easy to see coming.
yeah. What excites you most about the NCAA season?
Well, you mentioned Gavin McKenna. All these big time, next year we're going to have the first two picks of the draft from college hockey. And so that's very exciting. And so, yeah, just this whole new world of these players, these first round picks who are coming to give college a shot and experience it and the campus life and their social life and being around people your age. Certainly a lot better of experience than being on a bus, driving around Canada in the wee hours of the morning. That's good too. Certainly being with the players, but you can do that in college, walk around outside, go to a college football game. I'm sure there were Penn State hockey players at the whiteout this past weekend, watching Penn State lose to Oregon, but still that just imagine that experience for them. You're not going to get that in Lethbridge. You're going to get that in Happy Valley. So that's just imagine the recruiting power of something like that. So I'm just excited that these players are starting to come. I think word of mouth are only going to continue to take this option to give it a shot. And so as a result, right now it's at a very exciting time for college hockey. Star power, The new world is, where it can be for some people it's a little scary. For college hockey, it's great. Only upside right now, so it's good to be in the middle of it and to be going to the Frozen Four again. And got a one regular season game we're doing with Colby Cohen and myself. We're doing Michigan State and BU. I think Michigan State is a team that will likely be in Vegas at the Frozen Four as well. And so that'll be a fun. BU always has some young talent coming in. Cole Hudson, who's looking a lot like his brother Lane in college, a Capital second round pick. I'm looking forward to doing that game in a couple of weeks, and then doing my weekly X Twitter poll, which helps keep it forces me to do homework and follow the rhythm of the. That's why I do that really for my own to watch the sport each weekend, check out the games, compare schedules, come up with talk to some coaches, and just keep myself in that. I did it ever since the Frozen. I got the Frozen Four assignment in 2013, just because I felt like former broadcasters weren't taking it as seriously. They would kind of memorize 4 or 5 games on each, 4 or 5 players in each team, and just that's the only names you'd hear the whole time. I want to give these guys the sixth defenseman is if his parents are watching, they're going to hear their son's name said, and so I really want to immerse myself. I felt that was one of the things the sport was lacking was an all-in national broadcaster to give it the respect it deserves, and that was my goal with the Twitter poll. It's my way of staying involved with the sport. People seem to get a kick out of it too. And it's good for conversation.
Absolutely. And it's fun to follow along and hear what you have to think each week too. So
Right, right.
um, last one for you. Who do you think the most impactful Fighting Saint will be in college hockey this year? Yona Bison, you mentioned Michigan State. Sean Barnhill will be a freshman there. Kevin Radler at Penn State. Plenty of others. What do you think?
Better than me. I mean, you see them more. What do you think? You tell me.
I
What
mean Yona Bison's one of the best players I've ever seen in person here. So I'd be surprised if it wasn't him.
what a couple Saints I should be looking for that you think will make a decent impact their freshman year this year in college?
Sean Barnhill, really gifted skater. He's a third round pick
Where's
from.
he?
He's at Michigan State.
Okay,
So he was a third round pick for the Rangers this year.
okay.
Um,
Sean Barnhill,
so
where's he from? Where did he grow up?
yes, he's from Scottsdale. Played junior Coyotes. And then
How we use this information.
there you go. Yeah, junior Coyotes came here. Played played end of the season prior to last in the BCHL, and then came to the Saints last season. And you can see the skating ability and the talent there. So hopefully he can keep developing at Michigan State and make his way to New York.
It's the 17th, BU hosting Michigan State.
There you go.
And there'll be multiple Dubuque Fighting Saint references. So that's my thank you
All
to you.
right. Yeah. Well, you got BU Jonathan Morello as well, Boston Bruins
Okay.
draft pick. So
Morello. All right. Perfect.
yes.
Two of them.
All right. Well, John, I appreciate your time. If you have any more questions, you can let me know on some of the
Well,
Saints. But
well,
yeah, appreciate your time and insight. We're really excited for this season, and we're excited for the league to keep on putting together some great talent. And hope you have a great season. Hope there's a lot of overtimes for you, a lot of
yeah.
fun games, and wishing you the best on all the calls.
Good. Well, Josh Starr's a good name in the broadcasting business. I was when I was my first job was on Cape Cod, making 18 grand a year, and my first boss was Martha Cusick, the local Cape Cod news station. Her dad happened to be Fred Cusick, the Hall of Fame Boston Bruin broadcaster, long time. And I shouted at him one day at a game, and one of the things he said to me when I did that after I got hired there early on, once I found out that he's the Bruins broadcaster, he goes, "Yeah, I wish I would have changed my name, Fred Cusick. I think if I would have changed my name, I would have had a better career." Gee, is that his way of telling me I should change my name? John Buccigross isn't exactly Hollywood. So I went to his daughter and said, ask her kind of, because again, I'm 23 years old. I don't know. And I'm just trying to survive. I don't know anybody in this business. And I was like, should I change my name? And if she would have said yes, I would have. Like, okay, maybe I need to do this. I don't know. My middle name's Michael, like John Michael. I guess that's easy to remember, right? Or John Michaels, like Owen Michaels. And but she said no. I said, okay, I'll keep it. And so now I'm kind of glad I did because there's no other Buccigrosses out there, and everyone calls me
No,
Bucci now. So it
yeah,
kind of, yeah, Bucci rhymes with Gucci. So that's how I look at it.
there,
But like,
there you
again,
go.
if she would have said yes, it's funny how you look at life sometimes. These moments, she would have said yes, I would have changed my name. But Martha Cusick said no. That would be the title of my long-awaited biography. Martha Cusick said, "Don't change your name."
Oh,
But
they know
Josh
who we
Starr, they know who we mean.
they know who we mean.
But Josh Starr is a great name. You're going to make it. Hopefully, you succeed me in a couple years as voice of the
Thank
Frozen
you.
Four at ESPN.
I appreciate that, and I'm sure you got more than a few years left, but thank you.
Not many. The pitch count's getting high, Josh. Get ready. You're warming up in the bullpen. Good luck,
uh,
Dubuque. Have a great year, Saints. I love the middle of the country. I'm an Ohio guy, so I love that middle of the country, middle America, and I got to make it out to a game sometime. And go Saints! And thanks so much, Josh.
awesome. Thanks, Sean. You're always welcome.
Peace.
Bye.